Welcome back to the Grow Your Nutrition Business podcast. I'm Nicole Coyne, founder of Healthy Steps Nutrition and HSN Mentoring, where we believe something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated. HSN Mentoring provides a comprehensive nutrition business platform for gym owners and dietitians to offer individual nutrition coaching and challenges. The program is guided, tested, and proven. If you're looking to add nutrition services to your business, go to Grow Your Nutrition Business and book a free call today. Today's episode is brought to you by Precision Nutrition. They are the largest nutrition coaching course on the market. Like any awesome nutrition coach, HSN coaches were looking to add additional training after they got their programs up and running. I did a ton of research and finally partnered with Precision Nutrition in 2018 because of their methodology was similar to ours at HSN. They meet clients where they're at and they keep it super simple. And most importantly, they provide accountability and support along the way. I explain Precision Nutrition Level 1 course like your CrossFit Level 2. Go through our training at HSN Mentoring, learn how to do the basics of nutrition coaching, utilize the tools and resources that we've developed. Then, when you're ready for more tools in your toolbox, take your Precision Nutrition Level 1. Through our partnership, you can access the course at any time, and our nutrition coaches receive a discount on the course. What I love about Precision Nutrition Cert the most is the emphasis on the psychology piece, which is often overlooked when working with nutrition clients. Today, I interview one of the Precision Nutrition coaches and instructors of their Level 2 course, Dominic Mateo. He started off in the IT industry, and after going through a transformation himself, he ended up as a nutrition coach, then started working for Precision Nutrition. During this interview, we dive into nutrition tips for new coaches, the psychology piece, and a habit-based approach. Enjoy. Welcome back to the Grow Your Nutrition Business podcast. Today we have Dominic Mateo. He is a coach for Precision Nutrition. We are actually here in Cleveland doing a workshop that starts in a little bit. I wanted to tape a quick podcast and just hear a little bit more about your role with Precision Nutrition and kind of your backstory and get some tips for new nutrition coaches.
Great. Well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Of course.
So as you said, I am a coach with Precision Nutrition. I am currently a Level 2 Masterclass coach. So I am an instructor essentially for our Masterclass certification. I've been doing that for 3 years. Prior to that, at PN, I coached the men's cohorts. And prior to working full-time for PN, I had my own coaching business part-time, and I was working full-time in the IT industry.
Wow. All over.
Yeah, there was a gradual transition. You know, it started from a personal and passionate thing, and then it kind of evolved into a profession.
You did have your own transformation. So you spoke with me at the games, at the CrossFit Games. We did a affiliate owner breakfast, which we're going to do again this year. But you showed before and after pictures. And, you know, one of the things I talk about with nutrition coaches are where to find someone is someone that's been through their own transformation themselves.
Yes.
Like, you know, going through that transformation, it's not this perfectly straight line.
No, it's not. So it's been almost 10 years. About 10 years ago, that's when it started for me. I play rugby, I still do. And I was trying to essentially get prepared for the season. I started training. And putting focus into that. And I was getting fitter and fitter, but I wasn't paying attention to my nutrition at all. Right? So I was getting fitter, but my body didn't really change.
Which is frustrating.
Yeah. And I'm not real tall. I'm like, I'm 5'7". And at that point, I was probably about 320 pounds. Once the scale hit 300 pounds, I just stopped looking, really. And so when I hit that process of training, and then I kind of had the motivation to really dial things in when I found out one of my best friends passed away. He had a pulmonary embolism. The same day I found out that we were having a son. So we're having our first kid.
So
we found out it was a boy.
Happiest day and the saddest day.
Very, right? Talk about ambivalence.
Right?
So when that hit, it kind of clicked for me, my purpose. I didn't want to not be there for my children.
Of course.
And, this is my first kid, and I'm just thinking, I don't want my son to see me unhealthy, and to pick up these unhealthy habits that I have.
Yep.
So at that point, I really started paying attention to the nutrition as well. And through an 18-month process, I went from roughly 320 some pounds to, at my leanest, I was about 175 pounds.
Wow. Yeah. That's 150 pounds if I'm doing my math right.
So yes.
Wow. That's amazing. So talk to me about how you're able, as a nutrition coach, you had a nutrition coach business at one point. How were you able to utilize some of the things you learned through your own personal transformation to help nutrition clients?
Yeah, that's a great question. I really learned, and what I apply now, and I teach my current certification students, and even the folks that I do coach personally still, it's not about absolutes. It's not about finding the perfect diet or the perfect exercise program or this one works better than the other. It's about finding something that you can fit into the context of your own space and your own life, and you can do that consistently.
That's the biggest thing.
Whether that's 6 days a week, 2 days a week, 7 days a week, twice a day, it doesn't matter. As long as it works in your life and you can do that consistently, you will move toward your goal.
And I think that's where most people struggle, right? Because they do a challenge. It's almost January right now. People do nutrition challenges. They see great results, and then they go right back on day 31 of their 30-day challenge to every habit that they had prior to that challenge starting, right?
Yes. So that's an interesting thing to think about. A diet is just that. You go on it, and then you go off of it. It has a start and a finish.
Yep.
It does nothing for you in terms of skill acquisition. So you can start your diet and finish your diet and you're done. All you did was follow directions.
Yep.
When that's done, what do? And most people don't know. So they just go back to doing whatever they did before, as you said.
And that's why 80% of people will regain the weight that they work so hard to lose.
If not more.
Yep.
And so the one thing I would really get people to focus on for themselves, and if they're coaching other people, is to recognize that to achieve any goal, you need to have skills to support that goal.
Yes.
So just giving people directions does not help them. You need to help them acquire the skills to achieve said goal, and then skills to maintain the goal.
Yes, right? Like, people always need something to shoot for, right? And they need support. And I think that's where most nutrition programs lack, right? They give directions and then there's no support built after a certain period of time. And, one of the reasons why we partnered with Precision Nutrition over a year ago now is because I think you guys have really great certification with coaching healthy habits. And at the end of the day, that's what you need, right? You need healthy habits to achieve a lifestyle change, not a quick fix or a quick diet. Talk to me. So recently, the level 4, version 4 of the PN1 certification came out. Yes. Talk to me about some of the things that have changed with that cert and what people that are going through this cert could expect to learn.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. So yes, we did just upgrade to version 4. We went from a big, fat, thick textbook to now it's a boxed set of multiple smaller texts. We rearranged the order of some of the information and we expanded on some of it a little bit. So it's not like everything is nullified if you've seen the information in the past and now you're missing new stuff. Really, we just organized it in a more, in a more efficient fashion for people to absorb.
Yep. So I took the certification when it was the level 3 to get some CEUs for my RD certification or RD requirements. And now there's more coaching at the beginning instead of the metabolism stuff, which is really great because that's what people want to learn, right? Mm-hmm. Like they are so excited to become a nutrition coach. They're so excited to learn healthy habits. And that's one of the things you guys are really focusing on is kind of the path to get someone to achieve their goal, right?
Right. The thing is, we are really in a relationship business. We have to establish a relationship and help people move forward. And that's that's really what we help coaches learn how to do, with little bits of psychology, coaching technique, how to organize their own systems and structures, and how to talk actually to clients in a way that will resonate with them.
That's a big piece of it too, right? Because every person's a little bit different, and every person, you can go to a coach and they could say the same thing to you 50 times and doesn't connect. But if you say it a different way, they're like, oh yes, I can do that.
Right.
And that's when you're talking about habits, right? Like maybe you're trying to get me to do something and what you're telling me I'm not able to do, or it's tough for me. But if you tell me something else, we can get to the same goal a different way.
Right. Correct. So I kind of laugh, and this is probably not the best business model, but my personal goal with my personal coaching clients is that after whatever period of time it takes them to get close or to achieve their goal, I don't want them to work with me anymore. I want them to be able to do it on their own. And if they choose to continue to work with me for accountability or whatever, great. But I don't want them to need me.
That's a big piece, right? Like you want to empower people to make educated decisions and not feel like they have to call you when they're in line up Starbucks to, know what they should get.
Exactly.
And not setting boundaries as a coach.
Exactly.
Right? I do think accountability and support is a big piece of the puzzle. And we have clients that will pay start with a 3-month commitment, and then after that they decide, are they going to continue with that, or maybe their membership renews every 2 or every 3 months. So there's still some end date, but doesn't need to be as intense as the beginning, right?
No. Right. So I should probably walk that back and clarify a little bit. When I say I don't want them to need me.
Of course.
And if they want to stay and work with me, right? Yes, I love working with these people, but I don't want them to feel like they have to have me as a crutch, because that's not good coaching.
Yeah. What's one thing you would say to new nutrition coaches? Like, what's one thing that could help them become a better coach?
You don't have to know everything. You really don't have to know everything. Yeah. Truly. I can tell you on paper, when I first got hired at PN, they probably should have hired 1,000 people before me on paper, right? Just looking at credentials and whatever. Yeah. However, there were other skills that I have from my own personal experience and growing my own skill set that helped me move forward. So you don't have to know everything. You have to just simply be the best at what you can do now and continue to grow your skill set as you move forward. And you will make mistakes. We all do.
Absolutely. And not pretending the answer, I think, is a big thing, right?
Yes. I don't know that. Or at least saying, hey, this is a little out of my scope of expertise or my scope of practice. I do have someone that can get the answer, or I can get the answer for you.
Let me get back to you.
Yes.
I mean, that's huge, right? And that's what we tell a lot of the nutrition coaches running our program. It's backed by registered dietitians. You have a team of people behind you that can give you the answers, that you don't need to know everything 100%. What's one big mistake you see with new nutrition coaches?
They care more about the thing than their client does. So go
into that a little.
Yeah, if a client wants to come in and say they come in and they say, I want to lose some weight for whatever. Yeah. The coach runs off and is super excited, like, okay, I've got this diet approach for you, and I've got this exercise program, and you're going to train with me, and we're going to do this and this and this. The person may not be ready for all of that.
Yeah.
And when you as a coach are more invested and more emotionally attached to the outcome or to the actions that the person is taking than they are, you're not going to go anywhere. You're actually going to stall your own client. So you have to learn to back off and care less about the thing than the person across from you, which is super hard. I call that the coaching paradox. If you care about someone and want to see them succeed, you have to care less about the thing than they do.
I can tell you the biggest mistake I made starting as a dietitian in my private practice is I got so in the weeds caring so much, right? Like I would word vomit for an hour.
Because you're the expert.
And I needed to prove that, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, I just needed to keep it simple. And I think that's PN's entire approach is keep it simple and focus on what's the first step that someone could take to see amazing results. And once they nail that, then let's add the next step and the next step instead of overwhelming someone with too much information at one time. So, yeah, I mean, care less about the thing.
Nothing succeeds like success, right?
100%.
So even if it's a small win, that's a small win, and you can build on that. There's 900 different analogies and idioms we can talk about, building bases and foundations and all of those things. But truly, the goal should be to help someone just move forward toward their goal. And you have to let them care about it and lead the way.
And help set realistic expectations. I mean, so Adam, one of your coworkers, and I've done some psychology presentations together, and he's come into our group a few times to talk about nutrition coaching. But people come to you with unrealistic expectations, right? They come
Completely.
in, they come to you reading the magazine cover that says you can lose 10 pounds in 10 days. And you have to kind of bring them back to reality, right? What would you say to a coach? Like, how could you do that?
Again, this comes back to the client. Yeah. So really get to know the client, understand what they need and want and why. Really dig into the person's life. Get to know them, because who they are and what they value is going to influence and drive a lot of the decisions that they make. In fact, all of them.
Yes.
So if you expect, as a coach, we'll say, a parent that has 5 or 6 kids in a business and maybe 2 businesses or whatever, to be able to do all of the things that your 21-year-old who's recently out of college can do, you're not taking into account the reality of their life. So you really need to start with understanding the person and why they're doing what they're doing and who they are. And that, in turn, will allow you to be able to help them make choices that make sense for them.
Yes. I think it really comes down to an emotion, right? Like, people come into you and they say they want to lose weight. Why do you want to lose weight? I want to fit into these jeans. Why do you want to fit into those jeans? Because I feel confident in those jeans.
Yes.
And it always comes down to an emotion. And if you can get to that emotion, then you can circle back around that emotion.
Yes.
Throughout your entire coaching process, right?
Right. It's good to understand what drives them. And it's not even just their why. It's the other things about who they are and what they value as well. A great example that we see, when you see people who, for example, maybe aren't showing up to the gym. Maybe they've scheduled 4 or 5 sessions. It's a member of yours, and they've scheduled 4 or 5 personal training sessions, and they miss one constantly. And you're wondering, why is this person missing this? And it doesn't make sense to you, because you think, like, they paid, they're supposed to be coming, why are they not doing this?
Yeah.
And then when you talk to the person, you find out that maybe they've got a lot of other things in their life going on that they didn't account for, because people tend to not do that. Again, we think in absolutes. So if we can take a step back, understand the person, where they are in their lives, meet them where they're at, and then help them set expectations with themselves around what is realistic. Can you really come to the gym 4 hours a day if you're telling me that you barely have 5 minutes to eat? What is realistic for you? And I want to see you, if you say you're going to come to the gym 4 days, I want to see you 4 days. If you're not doing that, then what will improve that say-do ratio?
Yeah, that's a great point, right? And I think people, especially new clients, are like so gung-ho, right? They're so excited to change everything. And you need to kind of reel them back in. Like, okay, let's get back to reality. Like, what is a realistic change for you that you can maintain for the long haul? And as a nutrition coach, that's a learned process, right? Like, trying to figure out where people are at and really assessing where they're at.
Yes. And that does take skill and time and practice. But the first place you can start is just establishing that relationship. We know, and it's scientifically backed through research, that in pretty much all medical and health interventions, the major predictor of outcome is relationship between the person who is receiving the intervention and the person giving it. It's not necessarily the quality of the intervention, it's the relationship.
That's huge. You're nodding your head. People can't see that.
It's a massive thing. And this is why we're, in the internet land when you see people arguing over, CrossFit's great, CrossFit's bad, this kind of training is great, at-home DVD. Like, people fight about this stuff all the time. Yeah. And it's like, that none of that matters. What really matters is how you treat the person across from you, what works for them, and what they're going to continue to do.
Consistency, going back to what we talked about at the very beginning, right? Like, any diet will work if you do it consistently, or any food pattern, right? But people go 150% during the week, and then they do 0% on the weekend, and then they get frustrated that they are not achieving the results and goals that they want to achieve, right?
That's a really common one. Very, very common, right? Like, and this is the language we hear a lot. I ate clean all week. And then on the weekend, I just, I don't pay so much attention. Why am I not making progress? Should we change my macros? It's like, well, let's really just look at like what's right in front of us. We don't have to start tinkering with the stuff under the hood.
No, let's just look at the weekend. Like, what's prompting you, right? And I think really digging in and having a good relationship with those clients so that they tell you the truth, right? Because I think if you just come at it like, I know everything and I have the answers to everything, they might not feel comfortable talking to you about what their struggles are, why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah, we always say people don't care what you know. They want to know that you care.
That's huge. There are so many clients that we've worked with over the years at our HQ location that maybe come in and they're getting frustrated because they stall out, right? Mm-hmm. What would you say to a nutrition coach who has a client that's kind of plateaued?
Don't panic. First, don't panic. Second, it's not the end of the world here. I would take a look, I would take a step back and see, okay, is the client consistent with the things that we've agreed upon that they would do? And that's the first place to look. And if they're not consistent, then it's where you want to go is figuring out why they're not being consistent and help them maybe readjust expectations to become more consistent, maybe at a lower level, right? Because if someone says they're going to do 5 things and they're consistently doing 3 things, yeah, they're going to make progress, but they're going to feel bad about not doing those other 2. So if someone is stalled and they're not being consistent, the idea is how do we change things, or how do I get them to figure out what's throwing their consistency off? So you really need to work to get them consistent at whatever level they're going to feel confident at. And usually that kind of will release some of the negative self-talk that people have. And even if they're doing less, they will move forward most of the time. It's crazy.
Absolutely, because they're not feeling overwhelmed and they're not feeling like they failed you as a nutrition client. They feel positive and motivated because they are successful with the 3 things that you guys committed to them being consistent with, right?
Yeah. So look at consistency, and if they're not consistent, work to get them consistent with whatever you agree upon. And if they are consistent, then that's where it's time to take a look and see what's really happening. And you may have to have them show you and give you an example of what they're doing for a couple of days, whether that be food, exercise, sleep, whatever it is.
Exactly. I think giving clients the autonomy of making decisions and you not just telling them everything they need to do is an important relationship that you have between the nutrition coach and a client, right? Like, they need to be empowered and feel empowered. They're not a child. You're not their parent. You don't need to tell them exactly what to do.
No. So this is one of the biggest mistakes new coaches make, right? Like you even said, that's kind of where you were at. That's how I was. Yeah. This is what worked for me. This is what you have to do. It's like, do this. And some people will do that, but most people don't. And most people don't like being told what to do. So I always laugh. I don't know why this movie sticks in my head, or this scene, because I was a kid when it came out, but there was that My Big Fat Greek Wedding movie. And there's a scene where like the mom and the daughter are trying to convince the dad of something. They came up with an idea, and it was a great idea, and I don't remember the details, but they knew it wouldn't fly unless the father thought it was his idea.
Okay.
Right? And so they planted seeds and talked with him, and one day he was like, hey, let's do this. And they're like, what a great idea.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's kind of what we have to do with our clients. It
Yes.
has to be their idea.
100%. You just got to be super flexible with your approach to make it their idea.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I think we have a lot of nuggets shared here today with nutrition coaches and what to do as a new nutrition coach and what to avoid if you are a new nutrition coach. And again, I think Precision Nutrition has a great certification, which is why we partnered with them. And I have a great relationship with you guys, which I value tremendously. If someone is interested in taking the course, the PN1 course, typically you just have 2 openings during the year with the Precision Nutrition one, but with our partnership, you can actually access the course at any time. So if someone listening to this is interested in the Precision Nutrition certification, go to growyournutritionbusiness.com and you can get access and sign up through us for the awesome PN1 cert.
Yes, and you'll get lots of support and lots of information that will help you grow as a coach and even as just an individual.
I consider the PN1 certification like your level 2 with CrossFit. So go through our training initially, get your program up and running, go through the basics of nutrition coaching with our cert, and when you're ready for additional tools in your toolbox, you need to go through the Precision Nutrition certification. And every single one of our nutrition coaches on staff, if they're not a dietitian, they have to have that cert. I'm so confident that you need all of those tools in your toolbox to become a better coach.
For sure.
Dom, we have to go present at a workshop.
Yay.
It's
Get to
be
talk
awesome.
more about this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure to chat with you, and I learn something every time we talk.
I do too, actually, because it's always nice talking with other professionals, and you ask questions that get me thinking about things that often I know, but I forget about, and so I appreciate that as well. Thank you.